That speaker is awesome, and she's going to tell you exactly what you need to do and what you need to understand to get a healthier family relationship with your baby, toddler, and preschooler. Her name is Cherrie Macleod. How parents can talk to their baby, and how can they also build their child identity and creativity when they're just baby and they cannot do much.
Most misunderstood aspects of baby development is that babies just don't understand, right? Babies don't know how to talk, they can't communicate back to us, or they don't, have words to communicate back to us. So sometimes I hear parents say, well, is there really a point to be communicating with my baby? Do they even get it? And sometimes they even say, I feel so silly talking to a baby that doesn't really respond back or doesn't talk back. Right? And the whole part of baby development is, it's just so fascinating. Within the first year, our babies are actually communicating a lot with us, right? And it's actually tuning into what they're trying to communicate. What are the cues that they're giving us? So even though they don't have the words to tell us certain things, they make sounds, they make gestures, right? And oftentimes the sound is by crying, right? They're going to cry to communicate things to us. And so how do we actually learn what those cues are, right? And as parents, when we understand that anytime our baby's making noises, making gestures, those are all tools of communication. That's the first building block as our little ones grow up. So one of the big tips that I often talk about with babies is really just talk to them about their day. As they wake up in the morning, you're walking into their room or, picking them up from sleeping, greet them with a good morning. How did you sleep? You can start to ask them questions, even though you know that they're not going to be able to answer. But this is the beginning of having a dialogue with our little ones, them learning that there's a back and forth. Right. And so talking about the routines of the day, like, you're waking up now, let's go change your diaper. Then we're going to have a bottle, or we're going to have some milk, and then we're going to do like go through the routines of what's going to happen during the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a large part is just including them in those processes.
Yes. And I believe that you mentioned that, in our previous conversation, you said that we should do things with them, but not to them.
Absolutely. So diaper change is a really good example, where with diaper changes, oftentimes we're trying to get it done as quickly as possible. And because we're doing it so many times during a day, it sometimes becomes very tedious. And as moms, as parents, we've got a lot on our mind as well. So sometimes while we're changing diapers, we're thinking about the next 5 things that we need to do afterwards. So we need to get dinner ready, we need to get school stuff prepped, we need to do laundry, we need to do XYZ. And so we're not actually present in that, interaction of changing diapers. But what's fascinating is that when we actually slow down and we're present in doing that process with our little ones, so as we're changing diapers with them, where we get them to be participants, they actually tune in a lot more and they fight us a lot less, especially as they get older. So as they start to move, start to crawl, they're no longer enjoying being on their back. They want to be up, going all the time. When we slow down and include them in the process, which will look like, hey, can you lie down on your back for me? And we're going to change your diapers. Can you pull down your pants? Or can you hold the wipes for me as I get your diaper ready and clean your bum, or, whatever it might be that you're doing. When they're included in the process, they feel like they're a part of it. So they're no longer having stuff done to them versus, we're actually doing it with them. And so the example that I use is, imagine now we're a senior citizen and we're in our 90s and we're no longer able to control our own bowels and our bladder. And so we need to be changed by a nurse, right? A nurse would come in, or a family member would come in and take care of us. Would we want them to pin us down, hold our arms and legs, and try to just get in there and get it done as quickly as they can? Or would we want them to kind of be gentle with us, talk to us about what's happening, what's the next step, and see if there's any way that we could be a part of it? So a little kind of reminder of if we put ourselves in that situation, how would we feel?
Yes, definitely. And the resistance is not there anymore. When you do something with the other person, the resistance is not present, because now it's something that you share. So there is more trust and more connection. So it's better.
And that's the huge part of communication, right? It's the trust, it's the connection. That's what builds the communication. And with babies, that's where they learn that it's safe for me to communicate. If they're getting their arms and legs pinned down and they're not able to communicate that they're uncomfortable or they don't like being in that position, or even if they try to communicate it, that communication gets ignored because we overpower them, then they just kind of learn that, hey, well, what's the point of me communicating because you don't respond anyways?
Yes.
Right.